Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the beautiful Daytona International Speedway in Daytona Beach, Florida for tonight's running of the SimPossible Racing League B-Car Series here on 3Wide TV. I'm Peter Short, and joining me in the booth here tonight is Cameron Rich, and Carlos Acosta will be manning all these cameras here tonight. And here we are high atop Daytona International Speedway. You see the track map there, about 2.5 miles, 4 turns. And look at that, track temperature 94 Fahrenheit and a beautiful 76 degrees ambient temperature here, Cameron. And man, we're back here at Daytona. It's the start of the season for these drivers, and I'm sure they'll be looking to get their season underway well here today.
Oh yeah, it's like a new era for these guys. This league is growing every day. You know, a new season. We got 33 races in this Xfinity Shadow Series, I would say. It's mirroring the real life series, so you know, it all starts here at Daytona, and these drivers are going to want to get off on a good start.
Yeah, and we have a lot of fresh faces here tonight. In fact, if you've been watching us here on 3Wide TV week after week, last week you saw the SimPossible Truck Series here on 3Wide TV the last Wednesday night. But from here on out on Wednesday nights, it's going to be these B cars turning laps and going through the entire Xfinity schedule, as you said, Cameron. So definitely will be interesting to see how these cars handle and how these drivers handle them in comparison to how they handle the trucks each and every week.
Yeah, a little bit of a difference between the trucks and these cars, of course. Less downforce, more power, a little bit lighter, but you know, you can see on the screen right here, those spoilers on these cars are so tiny, and that really throws a wrench into how they drive and draft around this track. You know, we've seen both in real life and in the sim that just one little wrong bump or one little wrong push can really cause a wreck and put it into a lot of people's days.
Yeah, definitely. And here we are in practice. Practice just now winding down. Dave Wilson in the number 20, that bright purple Cadbury Dairy Milk machine there just on the left side of your screen. He was fastest in practice with a 46.449. Christopher Burge second, Brian Lowhead, Billy Wise, and Kyle Zimmer rounding out the top 5. But practice laps don't really matter too much here at Daytona because we got the draft here tonight, and the draft will of course be the big equalizer, but at the same time, the draft will determine who wins this race. Some liken it to a lottery or a coin flip as to who wins, but Cameron, there's a lot of skill in these Super Speedway races.
Yeah, I was just going to say, a lot of people say there's not involved in winning a race like this, and, you know, I have to disagree with that. There is a lot of talent that takes to win these races. It's just a different kind of skill set than, say, like a road course or a short track. You really have to know how to play that draft, how to race around other cars, you know, because you're going to be around other cars for the entirety of this race, and you really have to know what you're doing. It's more of a mental game than it is an actual physical battle, but you know, definitely it does take a lot of talent. But you know, qualifying here, a lot different than you see at other tracks. You know, you're going to see these guys probably run up right next to this wall on their out lap and their first lap, and they just want to get that car wound up as much as they can before they drive it down to the bottom of the track and take the shortest way around here.
Yeah, and you can see Alan Capers in that number 13 Sinclair machine. He's going to head to the line for his first qualifying lap time, and you know, here he is. He's going to run right up there by the wall and try and minimize the input on the wheel. And you and I know, Cameron, getting a good lap around Daytona, it's really important to keep that car as smooth as possible and as close to the wall in the first lap, and then on the second lap, once again, keeping it really smooth down there on the yellow line, because every little wheel input will scrub off a small percentage of your speed, and speed is what matters here at the World Center of Racing at Daytona. Here's Alan Capers. He's going to come to the line here, and he's going to dive down to the yellow line to set himself up for a fast second lap. We'll see all these drivers turn their fastest lap on the second lap because they'll have all the momentum they have built up from the first lap. As you see the ticker up there on the top left of the screen, Tim Masters was the first man to get a lap in with a 50.203. And oh, look at that, Fernando Matos. We haven't seen him much here in the on 3Wide TV in the SimPossible Racing League this season. but he's put in a good first lap in that number 17 machine. And let me tell you, that number 17 machine, if you're going to be watching our stream throughout this one, you will not miss that number 17 machine tonight, because that thing is bright, bright yellow. Definitely going to be a crowd pleaser here tonight with all the schemes. And Tom Johnson now jumping up to second on the board.
Fernando actually making his SimPossible Racing League debut tonight, so he's going to want to put in a good performance. And like you said, it's going to be easy to see that car. And another one I like is the one you're seeing on screen right now, that really awesome retro-looking Sinclair machine of Alan Capers. I just love that dinosaur. And you saw for half a second here, David Wilson's car, purple Cadbury machine. I love purple. It's my favorite color, so really I might be a little biased here, but that's a cool looking car too.
Yeah, if you are ever in an open session here on the iRacing service and you see a purple car, there's a pretty darn good chance it is Cameron Rich, because you don't see that many purple cars out there. And David Wilson here rocking it with that good-looking Cadbury Dairy Milk machine. That thing is as smooth as Cadbury chocolate as he hits the line here. Going to put in his second lap time. He jumps to second on the board right behind AJ Digby. Digby put in a 49.729, and he's about a half-tenth faster than David Wilson currently, as these drivers still rolling in time. Kyle Zimmer just now hit the line with a 49.976. There is Tom Johnson in number 56 Ford. Another good-looking machine, as we're getting to see all these paint schemes on track for the first time this season here, since this is the first race, and it's a fairly long season for these drivers. They'll be back in action next week, I believe, at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, so definitely come back and check us out here in the SimPossible Racing League. Look, Christopher Burge coming to pit road. Cameron, getting to pit road could be really important here at Daytona. It can make and break your race.
Yeah, absolutely, Peter. We've seen, actually, personally, you and me have seen races won and lost on pit road, and that's going to be a storyline for tonight, because if we have green flag pit stops, and we will, because as you said, long season and long races, these are all 2/3 of the real life races, so fairly long, and should see green flag pit stops if we don't have cautions. Really hard to get on pit road and get that just right. Pit strategy going to be a key factor in the race, taking tires or not, stuff like that. But anyway, qualifying is over, and your pole winner for the first race of the season, AJ Digby. So he's gonna start the season off on the right foot.
Yeah, and a little bit of SimPossible Racing League history is AJ Digby becomes the first man to win a car using win the pole using one of these B-class cars. Pretty cool for him, and pretty cool for the league. Last year, this league only did a kind of a small half season with the trucks, and this year they're now expanding to the Xfinity cars. And well, all the cars now gridding out there. That rough RT12 pace car out front. AJ Digby, like we said, he's the man on the pole in that number 14 machine, and joining him on the front row will be that number 20 of David Wilson.
Row number 3 will be the 9 car of Tim Masters, and to his outside, the 56 of Tom Johnson.
The real row number 3 is the number 98 of Christopher Burge and the number 32 of Billy Wise.
Yes, excuse me on that little mistake there, but we have Kyle Zimmer starting 7th, and Nate Catilla to his outside in the 8th spot.
Yeah, Cameron can't do math. It's okay, Cameron. Starting in the 9th position is Doug McCollum in that number 33, and to his outside, that bright yellow and green Fernando Matos in the 17.
And in another row number 3, no, I'm just kidding. We have Thomas Wise starting 11th in the 1 car, and Johnny Berardi in the 99 car starting to his outside in 12th.
Starting in the lucky number 13 position is lucky number 13, Alan Capers, and to his outside is Tanner Sharp in that number 3 mobile.
And the last row on the grid, we have Evan Cochran and Brian Lohead, both of which did not take a time.
And that makes up your 16-car grid for tonight's 80-lap event here at the Daytona International Speedway. And man, Cameron, it's a 200-mile event. These cars going almost 200 miles an hour. If we stay green, it'll only take about an hour, but I'm sure all these drivers will get in and kind of strapped in for the long haul for this one, because this is a fairly lengthy race for these guys.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's going to be, you know, in a longish race like this, you want to really try to keep your patience, and it's pretty hard, honestly. You know, we always say, just be patient, just be patient, but when you're out there in the car and getting going, you know, things do change a little bit, so you really want to get to the front. Qualifying, you know, really doesn't matter all that much. Of course, you want to get the best pit stall selection you can get. You want to get up as front as you want, but for those guys who didn't qualify, like Tanner Sharp, Kevin Cochran, Brian Lowhead, they're not going to be at too much of a disadvantage because the draft is really a big equalizer here.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a couple different strategies to play at a super speedway, and the kind of the dirty word at all super speedways is the big one. And really, the best strategies at Daytona is to not be in the big one, either be ahead of it or be behind it. But if these drivers do get in the big one here tonight, they do have some fast repairs which will allow them to get their cars all fixed up and back out there on track, because the pace car lights are off and we'll get set to get this season underway. Well, if you're looking up at the top, if you're a Tanner Sharp fan, he's in that camo number 3 machine, if you can even see it since it's camo. But pace car has come down pit road and the green flag is in the air. AJ Digby leads the way to start the SimPossible B-Car Series.
All the drivers, of course, they have the butterflies in their stomachs for this race. You know, they have a long season ahead of them, and it all starts right here. AJ Digby on the right foot gets a great restart. He's going to pull ahead of the 20 of Dave Wilson, and that low line looks strong right now.
Yeah, low line is strong, but look at that 98. That's Chris Roberge tucked up right behind his teammate Dave Wilson, giving that number 20 a great push out of turn number 2. And that number 20, with that momentum, is going to pull ahead, slightly ahead of Digby. Roberge gave him a great shot coming out of turn number 2, and that really propelled the... Oh, contact! The number 20 now spinning, get contact behind. Oh, big contact to the back. Dave Wilson spinning throughout the field. Most of the field able to avoid it, but that puts us under the yellow flag here early at Daytona.
Yeah, that's what I was worried about, Peter, that that tiny spoiler on that car, just you cannot push into the corner whatsoever, and I think we saw that right there. Of course, Christopher Burge not trying to wreck him, he's just trying to push his teammate and get him that momentum and whatnot, but just a little bit too much there. And of course, Tanner Sharp there making a great escape, didn't get involved in the wreck, but David Wilson a little damage, but he'll be fine because, like you said, we have fast repairs and he'll get that car fixed up.
Yeah, the 32 and the 4, Billy Wise and Nate Catilla, those two cars did receive some damage. I think Thomas Wise, it might have clipped through the cars, and luckily for Thomas, he's got no damage on that machine. There is Tanner Sharp. Let's watch this replay. Let's see what he does. Ooh, maybe a little bit of contact with the 80 in front, but he decides to go through the grass and saves it down there. Gets a little bit squirrely going through the grass, but Tanner Sharp doing a little bit of rallycross here early on to avoid the first accident of the race.
Yeah, and sometimes that's just the best strategy, just to, you know, bail and go in the grass. Of course, it's not real life NASCAR, so you won't destroy your entire front end doing that, but you know, great avoidance there by Tanner. And you know, Tanner is a very good driver, and he's especially a very good restrictor plate driver. I've been in a few with him, and he knows what he's doing, so I think he's going to be one of the ones to beat tonight.
Yeah, a couple of those drivers with damage and even some without damage are now headed down pit road, as most of your leaders stayed out, led by AJ Digby, as we got just about 3/4 of the lap in. Dave Wilson in the number 20, he's coming down to get his damage repaired. He's one of those on pit road. Kevin Cochran, we got contact on pit road. Tanner Sharp and Kevin Cochran made contact down there. Not quite sure what happened there. I think Kevin Cochran might have missed his pit stall, and the next pit stall after him was Tanner Sharp. So you see the number 80 Kevin Cochran there. He's gonna just pull out, and I think he just missed his pit stall possibly. Anyway, regardless, Tanner Sharp ended up in the 80's pit box, so maybe the 80 didn't miss his pit box. A little bit of miscommunication there, a little bit of contact on pit road. Tanner Sharp still in his pit box currently. I think he's trying to get some of that damage fixed from that contact with the number 80 machine, but definitely some action early on here at Daytona.
Yeah, absolutely. We're only 3 laps into this 80-lap event. We've already seen some sparks fly and you know, some accidents, but I think these guys will, you know, calm it down just a little bit because we got a long way to go, and you know, I think everybody knows that they got to ease up on the pushing in the corners and, you know, just cool it down a little bit. So we'll get some green flag laps underway here.
Yeah, definitely. Those butterflies early in the race can sometimes really creep up on you and make you force your hand early on. But really at Daytona, it's all about trying to get to the last 20 or so laps and then trying to make that move. There is the number 3 of Tanner Sharp. He's finally made it off of pit road. There he is about halfway down the backstretch. If you can see that camo colored car, sometimes, you know, those camo, I don't see a car on screen. What are you doing, Mr. Cameraman? Oh, wait, there is. It's Tanner Sharp. That joke will not get old throughout the season. We'll have to see if that number 3 Mountain Dew machine stays with that paint scheme. But that's a pretty cool looking ride for Tanner Sharp. I think it's a really good, you know, Mountain Dew has their new campaign going where they're using all this camo, and I know that that's what Tanner Sharp has adapted for his car. I think it's a pretty good looking ride.
Yeah, very, very good looking ride. I'm a big fan of digital camo myself. I told Tanner before the race, you know, the car looks pretty cool. But regardless, we are doubled up again. Effectively going to restart this race entirely because we did not even get a lap in. But AJ Digby's still going to be your leader here on the bottom, and Chris Roberge now in second place.
Yeah, and for all you fans of Dave Wilson, he's currently in the 10th position. He was able to limp his Toyota Camry back to pit road, so he was able to get all that damage repaired from that initial accident. So there he is in he's in the 11th position, excuse me, but he's just outside the top 10, and I'm sure we'll see that number 20 bounce back here in the next few laps or so as we're getting set to see that pace car turn left, Cameron.
And that confirms that neither of us up here in the booth can count, but yeah, we're fixing to get going green here again. I think all these drivers still have some butterflies about this race because we just don't know what's going to happen. But the green flag is back out. David Wilson, or excuse me, AJ Digby gets a weird restart. He actually pulls in front of these two behind him, so he's going to get going here pretty well, pushing by the 9 car of Tim Masters.
Yeah, Masters got a great restart. Masters was able to stay right on the back bumper of AJ Digby in that number 14 machine. And, you know, if you can get two cars kind of lined up with one another here, it can definitely help. As we saw on that last restart, the 98 pushed the 20 to the lead. Well, unfortunately this time, the 98's left out to dry. He's finally got a little bit of help from Fernando Matos, but Matos is having to close in on the back of Chris Roberge. But for now, that inside line is really strong as Kyle Zimmer now trying to get in front of the number 98. Here you go, on board with Fernando Matos. We're watching out the front here. The bright yellow and green machine is, he's finally worked his way up to the back of Chris Roberge in the 98. And there is the number 33, Doug McCollum, just to his inside. So good showing by him. We also have Tom Johnson in the 56 up into the top 5 as Kyle Zimmer jumped to the high line. He's trying to see if he can get that number 98 of Chris Roberge behind him to see if they can work to the front. But Roberge has decided to jump down to the bottom, and that's left Kyle Zimmer up high and dry out by himself.
Yeah, and this is something you're seeing. You see the field kind of sort of trying to go single file, but actually, as I say that, 33 of Doug McCollum pulls out on Tom Johnson. He's got a push from Roberge behind him. But you're going to see these cars get a little bit more room. Here comes Tanner Sharp through the middle. He's pretty fast. Got a huge run out of turn 4, so he's going to go right up into the 6th spot right here.
Yeah, the pack really had to check up. There was a little bit of instability mid-pack, and a lot of them had to check up as to not make contact. And Tanner Sharp kept his foot in the gas, went straight up the middle, and he's taken that number 3 machine now up into the 5th position as Doug McCollum has now taken that number 33 machine up to the front. Last time by it was led by Digby, but McCollum has now got the 33 out front with help from the 98 of Chris Roberge. And I think Roberge is really asserting himself as a good pusher. We saw him push Wilson to the front, although there was a little bit of contact. I'm sure Roberge will learn from that contact, but he's definitely able to stay right on someone's back bumper and give him that momentum to get that final push up to the front. But just as I say that, Digby takes the lead back for the tri-oval. So Digby will once again lead the lap.
And he got a good push by Tanner Sharp. He pulled him right on. Oh no, there we go again.
What a save by AJ Digby. That could just be the save of the season.
Yeah, wow. That was great driving by Digby there to keep that. He didn't really even lose that much ground on the racetrack. He's still in the pack.
I mean, we have to watch this one again, but a little bit of a nudge from Tanner Sharp right there on entry, and that car was pointed completely sideways, kept it going straight. You know, Digby was almost involved in that first wreck, and after that one, there is absolutely no question that number 14 probably needs a new pair of underwear, because that is 2 moments that AJ Digby has been able to keep that car clean. And man, I don't think I would have been able to do that. As now Tanner Sharp though has inherited the race lead in that number 3, and he's being pushed by Doug McCollum in the 33.
Yeah, and after that, we're kind of single file throughout most of the field. You know, Peter Short, or as a driver. Oh, we have a Tanner's around.
Yeah, Tanner Sharp spinning around on the back stretch. A little bit of contact from Doug McCollum there on exit. Spent the number 3 of Tanner Sharp around. So. Man, it looks pretty treacherous to push. You know, we watched this on the replay. We were riding on board, I think, with Doug McCollum, and that number 3 just went around with, I don't think he got any major damage from that. There might have been a little bit of contact with AJ Digby in the 14 machine, but we'll have to see. Maybe we can see from this point of view if Digby did make some contact. Oh, just a little bit of contact. That number 3 just went spinning around. And there definitely appear to be some sparks flying from contact with the number 14 as we are now 10 laps into this one.
And yeah, we're seeing the pushing it on the corners. It's really, you know, not something you want to do, and it's so easy to do. Personally, I've done it myself, especially with this car, because you know, unlike the Cup cars, which don't really draft all that well, and the trucks, which are pretty well sealed to the ground, these cars just are not stable whatsoever in the corners in the draft. So really gotta just give the car in front of you room, and you know, even then sometimes it still just happens. So gonna be a really tough race to get that all worked out with.
Yeah, I know that, you know, early in these races, these drivers will be just looking to figure out how these cars are driving, and I'm sure they'll adjust how they're driving accordingly. And Doug McCollum, your race leader, is going to come down. There will be a few people stay out, including Christopher Burge, Tim Masters, Nate Catilla, Dave Wilson. But McCollum's going to lead himself, Kyle Zimmer, Brian Lowhead, Kevin Cochran, AJ Digby, and 1 or 2 others, including Tom Johnson, Fernando Matos down pit road. Tanner Sharp, of course, on pit road. He's going to need some fresh tires after spinning around on the back stretch. And Digby there hitting his pit box really well in that number 14 machine. And we mentioned it earlier, Cameron, about getting on pit road, but with this pit road and having the pit road speed be so high, it can be really difficult to get into your pit box sometimes. Looks like Digby's going to win the battle off pit road. Brian Lowhead looked like he was second to the line. We'll have to see how the iRacing officials call that race off pit road, whether it does indeed go to AJ Digby. But behind him, Tom Johnson in the 56, Kevin Cochran in the 80, Fernando Matos in the 17, Kyle Zimmer, and Tanner Sharp, one of the last drivers off pit road. The guy who led everyone down pit road, that was Doug McCollum in the 33. He actually was, I think, the last driver off pit road. So not sure what happened there with that number 33. Maybe he was getting something adjusted, but he spent 40 seconds on pit road in that number 33 machine. So we'll have to see if we can check in on that as this race progresses. But for now, Christopher Burge, he did stay out, and he does inherit the race lead. And right behind him is the number 9 of Tim Masters. Nate Catilla right behind them in that number 4 machine. We're looking out the front nose of Tim Masters in that number 9. Nationwide Chevy Camaro.
And one thing to add about what you were saying, Peter, how hard it is to get into your pit stall. One thing a lot of people don't talk about is that at tracks like these, like Daytona, Talladega, They do run a kind of small brake package just to keep those, you know, just to keep all the friction that they can out of the from touching the wheels and whatnot. Of course, you want all the speed you can get at these tracks, so it really makes it hard to not only pull into your stall, but if we get green flag pit stops, that's why it's so hard when you're going, you know, 190 plus to slow down to 55, because the brakes on these cars are just not, you know, they're smaller than normal.
Yeah, definitely, and it's fairly easy to lock them up too when you actually do get enough pressure on the pedal to get the car woed down. And looking through the field here, your biggest mover so far in the race is driver number 13, Alan Capers. Johnny Berardi, we haven't really talked about him yet tonight. He's in the number 99 machine. He's moved up 6 spots from his 12th place starting spot. Brian Lowhead, another big mover. He's up 7 spots, started shotgun on the field here tonight. He's up to 9th, just running inside the top 10 in that number 66 machine. He's one of the bright red trucks out there. Him and Thomas Wise are the 2 predominantly black and red machines, so keep an eye on those 2 cars tonight. And we'll hopefully get the 1 to go signal this time. But you never really know with these iRacing pit, or excuse me, yellow flag laps. Sometimes you get some long cautions, sometimes you get some short ones.
Yeah, especially here at Daytona, the cautions seem to go on forever, and that was kind of what was good about how the Truck Series was at Eldora just a couple weeks ago. The cautions were about 2 laps apiece, so we got those over and done with real quick. But we are doubling up now. This car lights car off, and we're getting ready to go back green here in just about a minute and a half.
Yeah, one thing to keep in mind is Chris Roberge, Tim Masters, Johnny Berardi, all of those drivers have 12 laps on their tires. Now, tires aren't a big deal at Daytona typically. However, you know, the big question of fuel, I think these drivers can typically go about 35 to 40 laps on a single tank of fuel. Now, of course, when they are running under the yellow flag, they do burn less fuel. So you're probably looking at another 30 laps worth of fuel in those cars. But since they are the only cars that have yet to pit, we'll have to keep an eye on that if we are able to get a long green flag run. A couple other drivers have about 10 laps on their tires and 10 laps less fuel than some of the others. So that's another pack, and then you have your group of drivers who literally just pitted under this yellow.
And real quick, just want to give a shout out to our chatters in chat. Bobby Elder, Grassroots Sim Racing, iRacer Bill 39. Thank you all so much for joining us, and we hope you're enjoying the show so far.
Yeah, absolutely. Make sure you guys comment down there and you know, let us know how things are going, and give us some shout outs for those drivers to let them know after the race. I think most of these drivers go back and watch these races after them, and you know, your words of encouragement, they'll get to see them, and hopefully you know, you root on your best friend or who you're rooting for, and so on and so forth. As the pace car has finally pulled off, and the race is now back in the hands of the 98 of Chris Roberge, and he gets a pretty good restart, but that outside line already kind of formed up. Tim Masters and Dave Wilson are a little bit of a bump there by that number 20 machine, as Tim Masters finally able to get going. But look at Nate Catilla in that number 4. He's going to pull right to the back of Chris Roberge. He's going to clear Tim Masters in the 9, but we saw this early on in the race, and the number 98 was able to push the 20 ahead, but I think Tim has decided to drop down to the inside, and that's going to leave the 20 of Dave Wilson as the first man on that high line, looking out the back of Chris Roberge right into the nose of Nate Catilla as they dive off into the corner here. And man, sucked up right close to the back of that number 98. If you can stay that close and not make contact in the corner, that looks to be the best way to be fast here tonight. There is one car out back. That is Billy Wise in the number 32. You just got a glimpse of him just a second ago. So we'll have to keep an eye on that number 32 machine, because he's already a couple seconds back behind this lead draft. 15 cars strong. There is Billy Wise in the 32, but there's 15 cars strong in the lead pack.
And I'm just watching how close the 98 and 4 are here up at the front. And one thing we're going to have to watch out for tonight, or more happily these drivers are is those temperature gauges inside the cockpit, because when you suck up like that, you have no air going to your front bumper, your car will get hot in a hurry, and you only got about a lap or two before that thing will pop, and you know, your day is done right there.
Yeah, definitely getting those engines hot can be a concerning thing. I know I've blown a motor or two racing on these super speedways, but just pushing it a little bit too hard right near the end of the race. There's no point really pushing it yet, but as this race winds down, we'll see these drivers get a little bit more aggressive, I'm sure, and making these passes as you ride along board with your pole sitter AJ Digby. He's tucked up behind the back of David Wilson in that number 20 Cadbury Dairy Milk machine. As they push each other down the backstretch, that's going to give the 20 a slight advantage on entry into number 3. Looks like those two drivers up there on the high side working pretty well together and making things work. Now, the 98 and the 20 are two teammates, so we'll have to see if the 20 can get clear of the 98, whether or not the 20 would dip down to get in front of his teammate to help him out. Not quite sure if that will happen, because that number 98 is holding tough on the inside.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're too wide, 5 rows deep. Actually, yeah, that's 5 rows deep. So really, this is a pretty lockstep draft right here for all these guys. Here comes Wilson. He's got a great run, and he does do exactly what you said, Peter. He dips right down in front of his teammate. Going down into turn number 3 here and kind of leave AJ Digby out hanging.
Yeah, and do want to mention that Billy Wise has actually made a pit stop, so he is now 1 lap down. Ooh, look at that, the 13 of Alan Capers. He's jumping up and down. He's a little bit behind this draft as you're right on board with Kyle Zimmer in the number 25 machine. He's now tucked up behind AJ Digby in the 14, but Alan Capers looks like he was going high, going low, going high, kind of zigzagged between the lanes a little bit coming out of turn number 4, but everyone able to keep things going nice and cleanly here on the back stretch, and like you said, pretty much 2x2 all the way back in this lead pack, 15 cars.
Yeah, and actually we're 2x2, 3 rows deep now. The pack got a little bit separated after that incident of Alan Capers. Don't know what happened there. It looks like he just kind of tried to get in line. Maybe lost the rear end a little bit. Actually, it's a lot easier to do than you think, but as I say that, we are 2x2, 6 rows deep, so drivers really in a lockstep draft here. Tanner Sharp has caught back of this pack, so he's right back in the thick of things now.
And Alan Capers does have 16 laps on his tires in that number 13. Look at AJ Digby. Digby's running way up there near the wall, trying to get as much momentum as he can down the backstretch. He's trying to get help from the 25 behind as Chris Roberge has jumped out. Roberge now jumping up to the high line, moved in front of Digby just at the right time. I think maybe that number 98 trying to figure out some moves for later in this race, because he timed it just perfectly to just squeak in front of that 14 car. He got a really good push down the back stretch, but not quite able to get the momentum to push that 98 to the front.
And one thing I want to kind of make a note of, you see here, Billy Wise is going to go a lap down because of that pit stop he made, but going into turn 3 there, we saw the 4 of Nate Catilla get a little bit out of shape, and the car behind him, actually no, that was the 9, excuse me, Tim Masters. He got a little bit out of shape behind the 4 of Catilla, and the 56 of Tom Johnson just kind of let out and let him catch the car again. And that's good give and take at this stage in the race. You really want to see that happening, and that prevents major accident from happening.
As you watch this lead track, ooh, a little bit of squirreliness there. Tim Masters and Tom Johnson just behind your 2 lead cars. Looks like they just kind of washed up maybe a little bit in turn number 3 and 4, but everyone able to keep going. I wanted to mention, while these drivers are racing up front, it looks like Johnny Berardi in the number 99 has lost the lead draft. He's the 15th place machine. There he is on the screen, and he's about a couple miles an hour slower than the lead pack. Not sure if it's a little bit of that damage on that Ford Mustang. He does have a little bit of rear damage, so that might be affecting the speed of that 99 a little bit, but unfortunately he's lost that draft, and we'll be hoping for a yellow flag to get that draft back.
Yeah, and we saw Chris Roberge do exactly what Wilson did just a few laps ago, and he pulled right in front of him after getting that huge run from the outside, and yeah, both times it was the 14 of AJ Digby that was cut, so he's got to be wondering what he's doing wrong. now, but probably not to worry about it. It's really early on in this race, and of course, these drivers just having fun. And a lot of times, I hear a lot of people ask like, why are these cars moving around so much? You kind of see it on the backstretch. We go here, and Peter, you kind of know. You know, I bet all of these drivers are holding the wheel as steady as they can. It's really nothing the drivers are doing. It's just the air moves these cars around so much in this big draft pack.
Yeah, and not only that, you know, it's kind of hard to see in front of the car in front of you. You know, these spoilers are a little bit lower, but the way they stick up, they're not very wide, these rear spoilers, but they stick up quite a bit. And from the driver's perspective, it can be really hard to see what's happening in front of you. So if you are really tucked up right behind someone, you might just miss your entry into the corner. And if you do that, you're going to have to yo-yo with the car in front of you. It's really your goal to turn right at the same time as the car in front of you, stay super smooth and just really not wiggle around at all. But you know, sometimes you try and play catch up to the car in front of you. So, ooh, looks like Kyle Zimmer had to check up a little bit on the high side. Might have made a little bit of contact with AJ Digby in that number 14, but that number 25 did lose a little bit of time, as looks like Zimmer now is deciding to jump down. Ooh, Digby, he's decided to jump down too, so that high line has almost disappeared, as looks like that 25 a little bit indecisive. Doug McCollum now picks up Kyle Zimmer on the outside line, but they have Tim Masters to their inside in that number 9. So the first real side-by-side battle is for the 5th position now, as Tim Masters is just creeping that number 9 Nationwide Chevrolet back into the top 5, and Kyle Zimmer to his outside, getting help from the 33 of Doug McCollum. And they're pretty much side-by-side for the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th position or thereabouts. Oh, contact there! Oh, the number 9, Tim Masters going through the grass. And oh no, he's coming back on track. Oh, big contact there. Oh, that's the 17 of Matos, the 66 of Brian Lowhead, and the number 1 of Thomas Wise getting involved. Ooh, another big hit for that number 9 machine. A little bit of contact sent that number 9 going through the grass, and once you're down there in the grass, no brakes will stop you. It's like driving through ice.
Yeah, once you get in the grass there, the brakes don't work at all, and you're just kind of along for the ride. And of course, with the angle he went down in the grass, you know, he's going to come back up on the track, and really nothing anyone can do there. It just kind of looks like he got a little bit of bumper hook there, yep, by the 56 of Tom Johnson, and you know, that's just a bad situation. Really nothing either driver did wrong there. It just kind of happens.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that looked like, you know, the 9 was pushing and was right behind the 14 of Digby. It might have checked up just a little bit to avoid the back bumper of the 14, and they made a little bit of contact, kind of an accordion effect. And Tim Masters, man, Mato got a huge hit in that number 17 machine. Thomas Wise also got a pretty good lick, and Brian Lowhead's number 66 is pretty much destroyed. I think, surprisingly, all those cars are able to limp back to pit road, so they'll be able to get a repair without having to use a tow. Look at this. All of a sudden the track is blocked. Nowhere.
That's a brutal impact for those two cars.
Yeah, nowhere for Lowhead or Matos to go.
Well, we will regroup the field again, and we're all coming down pit road, led by Brian Lowhead.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Christopher Burge will bring his machine down pit road for the first time in this race. He's got 25 lap-old tires in that machine, but looks like, you know, he's coming down. He's going to get the right sides up, get some fresh tires. And Cameron, you know, we mentioned it earlier. Ooh, looks like Tom Johnson might have missed his pit stall a little bit. Tires aren't that important, but definitely changing those tires throughout the race is a strategy call. As speaking of strategy calls, looks like the number 3 of Tanner Sharp might have just beaten the 20 off pit road. I'm sure that was on a strategy move by that number 3 machine. I'm going to take a peek at pit road times. Tanner Sharp had a 9.3 second stop, so definitely 2 tires on that number 3 machine. There he is, just getting off pit road.
Yeah, and like you said, Peter, tires do actually mean a lot here in the long run of the race. Not so much, you know, before you get 20 or so laps on the tires, but once you get past that mark, the tires will start coming to play. The car will start to push and really won't do what you need to do as well as it can or should. So You know, usually you can get by with taking 2 tires, you know, right sides, maybe left sides if you alternate, but definitely those tires, especially with the track temperature, it's pretty hot right now, 89 degrees. It's definitely going to come into play in the long run.
Yeah, you don't want to spend your entire race on the same set of tires. I mean, you can run, you know, a good 60 laps or so on a single side, 60 laps on your left side or 60 laps on your right side, but you will want to come down and make, you know, 2 tire stops here and there to keep your tires relatively fresh, because handling does come into play towards the end of these races. Although the sun is slowly setting here at Daytona, it's about 5:30 in the afternoon here, and as the sun goes down, track temperature will start to cool off. In fact, you're starting to see some of the corners here at Daytona, especially turns 1 and 2, in the shade, and as that shade continues to stretch its way across the track, it will definitely help the grip on those cars, because the track temperature will cool down just a little bit. As you see the beautiful Daytona International Speedway, you can see the road course down there, the International Horseshoe number 1 and number 2. You see Lake Lloyd there on the back stretch, and you can even see the little bus stop chicane that they use on the road course here. But it's a beautiful racetrack, and all these drivers love coming to Daytona. I know I love coming to Daytona because it's kind of a refreshing change from most tracks when you come to a super speedway race. Some drivers don't like them, but I think most of these drivers here tonight were pretty excited for this one.
And you know, it's always good in real life and in the sim when the series starts here, because it kind of, you know, usually when you think of Daytona, you think of like a new season, a new start, a fresh start. So it's you know, a chance to just kind of get off on the right foot. Maybe, you know, maybe you will, maybe you won't, but just I know all these drivers are excited to get this season underway.
Absolutely, I know I'm excited to get this season underway. Alan Capers in the number 13, he did stay out that last time. We'll have to see if he stays out this time as well. It does look like he's doing so. So that number 13 Toyota Camry will assume the lead of this race. He does have 25 laps on his tires. His pace car lights are now off. So we'll get the green flag next time by. Alan Capers, 25 laps on his tires, will have this race lead, and it's kind of an interesting call to stay out. I know, like we were talking about earlier, Cameron, you got really about a 40-lap window on fuel, so plus a couple extra laps because they've run some under the yellow flag, but you know, Alan Capers doesn't have that big of a window until he might need to come down pit road in that number 13.
Yeah, absolutely. He's probably going to need to start watching his fuel numbers just a few laps into this run, because as you said, it's about 40 laps. Some of these drivers, I do believe, actually ran the official Daytona 500 on iRacing earlier today, and I know a lot of them were watching either streams or, you know, watching their friends run it on, you know, spectating mode. But definitely going to have to keep that in mind, because, you know, you don't want to run out of fuel here, because that really is a bad thing. You can pretty much get stuck on the track, and I've actually almost done it before myself. Kind of just get kind of stuck in the pack on the high side or so, and you know, not paying attention to the fuel, and you almost run out of fuel, and it's a lot easier to do than anyone thinks, really.
AJ Digby in the number 14 Ford Mustang, he actually came back down pit road that last time. I think he came back down maybe to top it off, so possibly, you know, just maybe thinking about fuel strategy already. I know it's, you know, we're only on lap number 28, but we'll see. As pace car has come down pit road, and green flag back in the air, Alan Capers leads him back to the green flag, and he's got that help from number 3 Tanner Sharp right behind it. That number 3 really pushing on the back of that number 13, and those 2 cars out front clear Dave Wilson in the number 20 as they go off into turn number 1. But we have look at number 25, Kyle Zimmer. He's making a move here. That outside line really not strong. Those Dave Wilson and Chris Roberge, they're 2 teammates. They've hooked up, but they're not quite able to make inroads on the 13 quite yet. Although here comes Tanner Sharp, that number 3 Camo Mountain Dew Chevrolet. He's going to mount a charge to the front as he jumps to the high side to the outside of the number 13 of Alan Capers. Just as I say, that outside line wasn't formed up. The move of Sharp with Doug McCollum, Kyle Zimmer on the 25 right behind him, able to go up high together. They're able to make the move, and Tanner Sharp leads a lap here at Daytona.
And Kyle Zimmer's really going to want to watch that pushing he's doing, because he's really been up on the bumper of whoever he's pushing this whole race, and we've seen that can end up in an accident. Of course, Tanner Sharp and Kyle Zimmer, ex-teammates, I believe. I don't believe Tanner is driving for Rebel in this series, but those two obviously know how to race around each other, and I don't think there will be an issue there. Tanner's actually going to pull down in front of Alan Capers here and lead that low line around here to finish this lap.
Yeah, Tanner Sharp racing for his own race team in this series, while 25, Kyle Zimmer, racing for Rebel Racing, owned by Levi Zielinski. He's getting help from that number 20 of Dave Wilson, and Alan Capers tucked up right behind Tanner Sharp. So it's kind of a side-by-side battle for the front 7 cars or so, and then there's a little bit of a gap back to the number 80 of Kevin Cochran, Tom Johnson, and Thomas Wise. They round out your top 10 at this present moment here at Daytona. Ooh, a little bit of zigzagging down the backstretch. It lured the number 13 and the 3 down below that yellow line, and the high line now able to get a run. Kyle Zimmer able to pull side by side for the race lead in through turns number 3 and 4 with that high line momentum. I think Kyle Zimmer will squeak by right at the line, and he does, and looks like get that lap led to that number 25, Kyle Zimmer.
He's getting a great run on that high side. Actually, his first lap led of the race. Of course, that's a bonus point for him. And as we've seen in the truck series of this league runs, every point matters. So this driver's going to be wanting to get those laps led probably early on and give one to Kyle Zimmer. Oh, AJ, contact!
Ooh, contact! Oh, still contact! The 25, oh, Kyle Zimmer hard in the outside wall. Couple cars in it, Cochran hard in it. Thomas Wise, Amato's involved. Oh man, that was another big one. And Chris Roberge in the 98 there. He's got a really crumpled up Toyota Camry. Let's watch this one. Cameron, talk us through it.
Yeah, it looks like, I think the 25 got hit from behind by the 20 of Wilson. And you saw that car just get all sorts of out of whack. And it was like, oh, brutal impact for a lot of cars in there. Actually looked like the 25 got kind of stuck in that safer barrier, but he's still going, although not very straight. There's a lot of fluid and smoke come out of the back of that thing. Yeah, just a little hook right there. You saw it on the bumper shot right there. Actually got a, oh yeah, big impact there by a couple cars too. So that car is definitely going to need a fast repair, and fast.
Yeah, and really Kyle Zimmer did everything he could to try and save that number 25 machine. He just, I thought he might just save it, as it was just wiggling pretty much, it felt like forever down the backstretch. I'm sure for Kyle Zimmer it felt like an eternity that car was wiggling, but looks like Alan Capers in the number 13 got a piece of it. You go on board with Chris Roberge. Watch, there's the initial contact, the 25. Look at him just wiggle it back and forth, and unfortunately got into the side of the number 13, and Roberge had nowhere to go. Pretty hard lick for that number 98, as you see in front of him Tom Johnson and some of the other folks who got involved in that one. But I think everyone able to drive it back to pit road once again, not have to use a tow, so I'm sure the drivers will be happy for that. Oof, look at Tom, the 56 there, Tom Johnson getting involved.
That 80 made a hard impact too, and he went for a ride, kind of tumbled around and bounced all over the track. I'm really surprised that we haven't seen any cars have to use a tow, because we've seen some brutal impacts, and it's a really good thing to see.
Yeah, iRacing, you know, sometimes you just clip the wall and all of a sudden your car's smoking, and that's, oof, man, that was a vicious hit at number 80. You know, kind of like a roller coaster ride for Kevin Cochran. He's down there on pit road getting his damage repaired. There's Tanner Sharp, driver in number 3. He stayed out, as did the 20 of Dave Wilson. A couple other drivers staying out as well. Digby, Roberge, Wise, Cochran, Capers, Lowhead, and Zimmer all on pit road this time by. Pretty much everyone else staying out.
we can get a close-up on the front of Tanner Sharp. He's actually got a lot of damage on that right front fender after the contact from Zimmer. Not sure if that's going to hurt him too much or not, but definitely you can see a little bit there. That fender is a little crinkled up.
Yeah, definitely. Some damage on the front of that nose is typically not what you want at a track like this. Daytona, very important to have your aerodynamics straight and in order to be fast. But we've seen a couple drivers here with damage in this race. The drivers who have elected not to use fast repairs, they've been able to hold up pretty well. But we'll have to keep an eye on Tanner Sharp and how he's able to fare once we do go back to green flag racing, which will be in a lap or two. So we'll see if the pace car lights turn off this time by. But all the field's kind of forming up at the back. Maybe a couple of takers on pit road. No, it looks like Kevin Cochran and Tom Johnson might just be letting some of the other drivers by. It looks like they might have entered a closed pit that last time as AJ Digby. I was just when that wreck happened, I actually noticed that AJ Digby in the number 14 Ford Mustang had fallen out of the lead draft. In fact, he'd fallen out of the second group even. He was kind of all by himself in the number 14 on the track, and not quite sure why, but Digby came back down pit road a couple times, and he came down pit road a couple times under that last yellow flag, so hopefully Digby's all right, but we'll see how that evolves as the race goes on, as we're about 5 laps away from halfway.
You think that might be a strategy call?
I'm not sure. I mean, there's definitely been some hard racing up at the front, and possibly, just thinking if I can get out of that lead pack for a little bit and lay back and see if I can avoid the big accident like that last one. That might be what Digby's thinking. They do have some fast repairs, so that definitely, kind of incites these drivers to race up in the lead pack if they have a couple of fast repairs left. But I don't know. We'll keep an eye on AJ Digby. He's been really fast here tonight. Of course, started on the pole earlier in this one, and it's a great-looking number 14 machine. Just a little bit off screen, but I'll have to keep an eye on that.
Yeah, 14 has a really nice candy apple red color to it, and I have to say I'm a fan. I'm kind of a sucker for that color. Looks good on any car that it's on, and of course that rainbow stripe that Digby runs on his truck as well, so kind of a trademark of his.
Pace car lights are off. We'll get set to go back to green flag racing this next time by, led by Tanner Sharp in that number 3. Nick Cantilla right behind him in the number 4 machine. Kind of been quiet tonight, that number 4, but he's worked his way up into the 3rd position. Great looking machine, sporting those SimPossible Racing League colors. Of course, it is the SimPossible Racing League, and if you're joining us here on 3 Wide TV or iRacing Live for the first time, the SimPossible Racing League is a league for drivers with disabilities, and it gives these drivers a place to race and basically a place with some great camaraderie and friendship and compassion between these drivers. It's really a great group of people to be around. It's been awesome being able to commentate for these drivers on the truck side of things. They have the MS Ford Truck Series now on Monday nights here on 3 Wide TV. And then here on Wednesday nights, we're going to have the B-Car Series from here on out. But it's been a great group of people to get to know. If you know of someone who's interested in joining this league, someone who has a disability and wants to get into the iRacing service, forward on the link, or if you're interested yourself, give us a message down here on YouTube so we can send you the link, or just Google the SimPossible Racing League.
Yeah, absolutely, Peter, and it's always good to get new drivers in this league. We've seen this league be growing, but we are going to get under green here. The pace car is off, and we are underway. Tanner gets a great restart on that bottom line. We've seen that bottom line really be strong all race, and like David Wilson has a lot of space behind him through the 17 of Fernando Matos, so probably not going to have a great push into turn number 1 here, but the bottom line very strong with Sharp, Tilla, and Masters all lined up nose to tail going through turns 1 and 2.
Oh, contact! The number 99 is around. Hard contact. A couple of drivers involved. The 99 upside down. And there is Chris Roberge spinning down in that number 98. A couple of those drivers. Oh, man, the number 99 is still upside down. That's Johnny Berardi. And we'll have to see if he can get a nudge to get him right side up. And just a little bit of contact in the corner from Thomas Wise. And it sent that number 99 rolling on exit of the corner.
Yeah, that was a pretty odd wreck there. I'm not really too sure what happened, but either way, ends up with the 99 on his lid. He was, still had the gas. He looks like he checked up a little bit for some reason and just had nowhere to go behind him. But saw him pushing the gas. Those wheels were still spinning when he was upside down. And hate to say this, but the car doesn't really go when it's not on the wheels.
Yeah, you see that gyro cam shot tells us everything, and he had to take a tow in that number 99 as it came to a stop upside down. Thomas Wise was also one of the drivers involved, and I think he had some difficulty getting that number 1 machine going again. He's bouncing off the wall, so the number 1 of Thomas Wise will also fall a lap down. In fact, he's now taking a tow back to pit lane to get that damage repaired. But that, Cameron, will take us to the halfway point in this race. And it is a benefit to lead the halfway point. We'll have to see if any of these drivers come down pit road, because they do get a bonus point for leading the halfway mark.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can't imagine that Tanner's going to want to give that point up. I think he's going to stay out on track. But, you know, if you're further on back, you can kind of make sure you're going to be good on fuel from this point on and maybe get some tires, some damage fixed. We see, I believe that's the 20 of David Wilson. Yeah, he's coming down to pit road, followed by Doug McCollum and AJ Digby, and that's Kevin Cochran behind him. So a lot of cars coming down pit road, and you know they know they're not going to leave the halfway point because we're going to run it under caution. So why not get some fuel and tires?
Brian Lohead was the first car 1 lap down. So while all these drivers are on pit road, Brian Lohead is taking the wave around, or the lucky dog. He will be back on the lead lap in that number 66 machine. He actually disconnected from the server for a little bit. Not sure if there was some connection issues, as Dave Wilson in the 20 is the first man off pit road. Number 33, Doug McCollum, also one of the first drivers off pit road. And you see AJ Digby sitting in his pit box. I'm not quite sure. It'd be interesting to hear if Digby's struggling with some technical issues, possibly a hardware issue or something like that, and that's why he's on pit road. But he's had some fairly lengthy stops tonight. But definitely Tanner Sharp staying out. He will get bonus points for Lou. Whoa. That's the grass there, Tanner. We've seen you do some rallycross tonight. I'm not sure if he's trying to run the road course or something. But Tanner Sharp finally finds his way back to the asphalt.
Yeah, no.
We'll have to keep that one in our back pocket for if we get to talk to Tanner a little bit later.
Hopefully he's not texting or something, because I've done that before, and you know, texting while driving a race car at some high miles per hour number is not always the best thing to do. And actually, if we can get a close-up on Tanner's car, I just noticed this. Eric Minch's name is over the roof of that car, so obviously Tanner giving Eric Minch a shout out with that little homage or whatever you want to call it. Eric Minch obviously had surgery over the weekend and recovering, going to be back in this league before too long. So Eric, if you're watching, we can't wait to have you back and hope you're doing awesome, buddy.
Yes, absolutely. As the pace car lights are still on here at Daytona. We're just now getting to the halfway mark. And it's been a pretty good race so far. Lots of lead changes here. Tanner Sharp, though, has now led just about 10 laps. 11 laps to be exact. But the pace car, Tanner Sharp once again exploring the back stretch here. Lake Lloyd's a little bit further to your left there, Tanner. I don't think you really want to end up there in a car, but it's a good place to go fishing.
And with how, well, the temperature is only 75 here, so it's not really hot, but always nice to go out on the lake and maybe do some fishing, like you said, or just jet skiing, or swimming maybe. Unless you're in a race car, then that's not a great idea. And we've seen that happen in the 50s and 60s before they put a wall on the backstretch to separate the track from the lake.
Yeah, if you find your way to that Lake Lloyd here on the iRacing service, I would be pretty impressed because it'd be pretty difficult to get there now. Although we have seen some cars get airborne here tonight, and some of the accidents we've had earlier in this action-packed race. But here we are, just now crossing the stripe that is that halfway mark here in this 200-mile event, as the SimPossible Racing League getting their first race of the 2019 B Car season underway here on 3Wide TV tonight. Peter Short and Cameron Rich and Carlos Acosta with you, bringing you live flag-to-flag coverage of this one, and we will be each and every Wednesday. And if you're joining us here on YouTube, make sure to comment down below and get involved in the chat. If you're joining us on iRacing Live, we welcome you and hope you're enjoying tonight's action here and the high banks of Daytona.
And just real quick, let's reset the top 10 here. Tanner Sharp, your leader. Nate Cotilla, second. Tim Masters, third. Fernando Matos, fourth. David Wilson, fifth. Doug McCollum, Tom Johnson, Kyle Zimmer, Chris Roberge, and Alan Capers round out the top 10.
I want to say, give a shout out to Max Calder in the YouTube channel. He's been joining us here tonight, keeping an eye on this race, saying that that was a crazy wreck. Yeah, there has been some tonight, but hopefully we can get some clean green flag running here on the high banks, as all these cars, once they get up to full speed, they run about 150 miles an hour in the draft, which is pretty impressive for these cars.
Yeah, and we got 40 laps underway now. We have 40 more to go, so we're going to go ahead and kind of replay what we've already seen. But pace car is off. Tanner Sharp is going to lead the field down green, and he's gone. Great restart on that bottom line again, as we've seen all night. Nate Cotilla kind of lagged a bit on the restart, but should be all right. He's got the drafting help of the 17 of Fernando Matos. The bottom line is pretty well stacked up right now. He's got Tim Masters and David Wilson on the bottom line, along with Tom Johnson, and I believe that is Chris Roberge on the bottom. So it's a pretty well sorted line right there on the bottom, and Nate Cotilla kind of left out right now.
Yeah, and you said one word, and that's the bottom line stacked up. And sometimes that works really well, but also if it stacks up a little bit, as you get a little bit of an accordion effect, as you saw right there from high atop on the helicopter cam, sometimes being stacked up leads to big checkups, and it can actually work against the low line. It seems like the low line is more likely to get those stack ups, as the outside line with a little bit more momentum and a little bit more area to breathe usually isn't susceptible to those as much. As Nate Cotilla, he's going to try and mount a charge in that number 4 machine. He's side by side with Tom Johnson in the number 56. Number 20 of Dave Wilson right in front of him. But for now, the 3 of Tanner Sharp leading the way with help from the number 9 right behind him, Tim Masters.
Yeah, and you said it right, Peter. That bottom line can check up on that. We're very, very tight on the bottom right now, and kind of being on the high side, that's kind of where, it's better than being on the bottom, because you don't get those checkups. You see Dave Wilson pull out from behind the 9 of Tim Masters, going to try to get that drafting help from Nate Cotilla and Fernando Matos on the high side. Of course, both of those cars, actually all 3 of those cars on the high side have been pretty good all race. Fernando Matos, of course, making his debut. Oh no! Oh! In the wall hard, that's David Wilson.
Dave Wilson hard in the outside wall. Excuse me for interrupting you, Cameron, but Wilson got hooked and turned hard right into that outside wall. Might have been a little bit of help here from behind. Maybe Nate Cotilla might have just gotten him, but we see it on entry into these corners. Oof, man, that is a hard hit with that number 4 machine, number 20 machine, and Dave Wilson's got a lot of damage, and he's now all by himself on the racetrack. That's not going to bode well for him.
Yeah, that car is severely lacking speed right now. He's only topping out about 160, so he's going to need a caution quick, or else he's going to go a lap down. And really, that is not what he wanted to see. He kind of had some issues tonight with that exact thing, the bumper hook, but that's unfortunate to see.
Yeah, and if you're Dave Wilson, I think he's used 2 or 3 fast repairs already, so you definitely have to keep that in mind throughout this race of using those fast repairs up. If you run out of them, it could spell the end of your race prematurely. So I'm sure Dave is a little bit upset, but hopefully we can get to see him get that car repaired at some point, because like you said, he's about 35 miles an hour off the pace currently.
Yeah, and with the speed these guys up here in the pack are running, they're about 193, 4, 5. So, you know, there's really not that much time until they're going to catch him with the speed he's running. So, you know, and when they catch him, the speed difference is going to be so huge where that can play a part in causing the wreck itself. We've seen that kind of happen in real life and in various sim races.
Yeah, for those people doing the math at home, Dave Wilson's about 20% slower than the lead draft right now, and that math equates to going 1 lap down about every 5 laps. So if you're Dave Wilson, you're going to be hoping and praying a caution comes out up here in the lead pack, because you will get swallowed up pretty quickly. One of the drivers, I think, trying to stay out of trouble is AJ Digby. He had a really good restart.
Oh, there goes Tanner.
Tanner,
wow.
What a save. Going exploring here once again at Daytona, that time not of his own doing, and now Tanner has lost the lead draft. Look at this, Chris Roberge right behind him on this replay, and just a little bit of contact right there turns that number 3 completely sideways. A fantastic save by Tanner Sharp, but Tanner's now going to have to regroup and try and get that number 3 back up to speed and see how long he can hang on without the draft, as the lead draft is still about 11 cars strong.
And one thing I want to make note of, that was the old Daytona. He's not saving that car because that was all grass down where he saved it. So kind of good that they paved that whole area in between the road course entry and exit, so that that doesn't cause an issue with cars getting loose or turned right there.
Yeah, as this lead group is just trying to regroup. Ooh, looks like that's Nate Catilla who just dropped below the yellow line. You're right on board with Alan Capers. He's trying to put Tim Masters in that number 9 to the front. Chris Roberge just out front of Tom Johnson in the number 56. They're side by side for the race leader, at least they were just briefly, as that outside line now just losing out to that inside line just a little bit. They kind of ebb and flow back and forth, as now the 9 has a great run out of turn number 4 to be side by side once again with Chris Roberge, but the 98 does lead at the stripe yet another lap. And keeping an eye on Tanner Sharp, he's going at about 180 miles an hour. He is 12.6 seconds off the lead. Dave Wilson, he was turned hard into the wall earlier. He's already dropped to about 40 seconds off the lead pace. And you see all these drivers, they're about halfway down the back stretch. Dave Wilson just now going through turn number 4 as everyone else is entering turn number 3. So Dave Wilson, he will most likely get swallowed up this lap, as all the leaders now can see that number 20 Dairy Milk Machine as they're going into the trouble. Ooh, contact right at the front. This reversion, Tim Masters, looks like they might have given each other a donut on the side of those race cars as they head off into the corner. Oh, look at Dave Wilson, man. He gets swallowed up in that number 20. He's trying to keep it out of everyone's way, and he clips the wall in doing so. Good to keep that number 20 out of everyone's way, but definitely struggling for speed in that number 20 machine. It's painful when you're out there and you're that slow. I know I've been in that boat before, Cameron, and it's never fun.
Yeah, and especially, you know, not only is he slow, but that car is probably driving terribly. So, of course, saw him hit the wall there. Probably steering's a little bent on that thing, and, you know, just really hard to keep it out of the way and not, you know, mess with other people's races in that situation. But we do see his teammate, Chris Burge, leading the race here. Got in front of the 9 of Tim Masters. Tim actually, haven't talked about him too much this race, made his debut in the Truck Series A couple weeks ago, and you know, really been up there in the top 3 all race long. Really had a quietly good race, and he's going for the lead right now on the high side.
Yeah, I noticed a couple of the drivers got a little bit squirrely through the trouble. Ooh, maybe a bad bump there by Alan Capers. That high line came a little bit detached. You can see the effect of that as the inside line of Roberge and Tom Johnson were able to get that momentum down the back stretch. As Alan Capers, ooh, a little bit squirrely out of turn number 4. Alan Capers almost got into the side of Tim Masters. Those 2 drivers broke up there as Capers dipped down to the low line there, and Doug McCollum in the 33, he's getting a fantastic run as he's jumped to the high side just to the outside of Alan Capers, just now behind the number 9 machine. In fact, Doug McCollum's decided to take this thing 3 wide. They're 3 wide for second, and now 3 wide for the race lead as Doug McCollum, what a run, pretty much out of nowhere, but that's going to stall out just a little bit as he didn't have any help behind him. They're going to be 3 wide into turn number 3, and Doug McCollum just, all that momentum he had has lost. He's got no drafting help up there. He's going to have to duck in behind the number 9 of Tim Masters, although it doesn't really look like he's trying to do so. It's like he's trying to do it all by himself up there in that number 33, which is a power move if he can do so, but they've kind of now got 2 by 2 up near the front as McCollum has finally ducked in behind the number 9.
We've seen that high line be really strong. Actually, they got a great run, Masters and excuse me, McCollum. We got a great run on the high side. We've got some swirling here. There's some bob and weave in there on the low line, but that high line has been really strong. They just haven't had the car count really to make a huge push for the lead, but I think it's going to happen right now. Yeah, they're going for the lead. Tim Masters is going to take it out of turn number 4 and actually move down to the bottom in front of Christopher.
A little bit of contact just behind these lead few cars. Looks like the number 4 Nate Catilla got into the back of Tom Johnson a little bit, and Nate had to back off the throttle and kind of broke up that inside line just a little bit. But you see that number 98 right behind Tim. Ooh, look at Tim Masters. He jumped up to the high. Oh, contact!
Oh, there
right
they go.
Nate Catilla. Oh. What a save! Basically making an S-curve all the way down the back stretch. But the 9 kind of just got shuffled out. And ooh, that really tight 3 wide here in turn number 3 and 4. It gets really tight on exit of number 4, but they all keep it going straight. Ooh, number 19, Alan Capers, just clipped the wall. Lost momentum, but look at that number 9 all by himself through the middle in that number 9 machine. And Roberge led that lap, but Tim Masters, I thought he was a sitting duck in the middle of all those cars, and somehow he just clawed himself into the race lead once again.
That was a power move. That 9 car is extremely strong by himself for whatever reason. Looks like an old DEI car from the mid-2000s. He's just able to go wherever he wants, and that car Billy Wise up here can stay out of the way, and everything's going to be good. They're going to get around on the bottom line, but as I was saying, aptly named Tim Masters, showing his mastery of the draft in this race so far.
If you are a Thomas Wyeth, Johnny Berardi fan, just to keep you updated, they're 2 laps down currently. Of course, they were both involved under that last caution, but we have a battle for the race lead. Once again, Chris Roberge jumped to the high side of that number 98 machine, but he's got no help from behind. I thought maybe someone might have gone, ooh, almost contact there, Tom Johnson and the number 98, but everyone keeping it clean here. Ooh, Catilla!
Oh, there they go, contact!
Hard into the outside wall, and the 17 of Fernando Matos and the 98 of Chris Roberge are spinning through the infield here. We're still green at Daytona. Can you believe this? But Fernando Matos in that number 17 and Chris Roberge both in the grass. Just bad luck all night by Fernando Matos. The yellow flag has been thrown. But there was a little bit of contact with Nate Catilla, and the number 98 got a little bit squirrely, and Matos had nowhere to go and got collected in that bright yellow and green machine. And man, maybe bright colors weren't the best choice, because it seems like trouble is finding him at every corner. And that number 15, Alan Capers, in the 13 also looks like he got a piece of it.
Bad break for the 20 of Wilson too, because he went another lap down right as soon as that caution went out. So not what he's going to want to see. But Tanner Sharp got to be able to get his track position back and get the car all mixed up. Good break for him though.
Yeah, the good thing about Dave Wilson is even though he will be one lap down, he will be able to get his damage fixed, hopefully, in that number 20 machine. So he will be a lap down, have a fresh car, and he will be in the lucky dog position. Thomas Weiss and Johnny Berardi both 2 laps down. Billy Weiss 5 laps down here at Daytona. But it will be interesting to see who comes down pit road and what these drivers do, as they're led by the 9 of Tim Masters.
Yeah, and it was a pretty lengthy run there, so I gotta imagine all these drivers are gonna take at least 2 tires. Actually, a lot of them are not even gonna pit, so completely just ignore me because I'm always wrong. But Doug McCall, I'm gonna come on pit road and fill up the car, probably take at least 2 tires. He's joined by Alan Capers, Kyle Zimmer, AJ Digby, and it looks like some of the cars that were involved in that wreck. There's Christopher Burge, Fernando Matos, the bad luck driver of tonight. I can't believe he's had a really bad debut in this league, but you know, he's been none of it of his own doing. He's been running right up there in the top 5 solidly all night, doing a great job. Just you know, not much you can do when you get caught in other people's mess.
Yeah, those bright neon colors. You know, I like running neon colors on car because I always feel like, you know, the other drivers will see you in the rearview mirror, and you know, it might keep you out of trouble. But it looks like the highlighter yellow and highlighter green have been attracting all the attention tonight by the spinning race cars out there.
And the good news is, it looks like he did have a fast repair, so that car is all fixed up and ready to go.
Yep, so we'll see that number 17 right back at it once we go back to green flag. It'll be interesting to see the number 20 of Dave Wilson once he catches back up to the back of the field, whether or not he's able to come down and use a fast repair. He's currently, he took his lucky dog, so he's back 1 lap down, and he hasn't quite made it back to pit road, so we'll be able to see if he's able to make it down pit road. We're going to try and see if we can talk to driver of number 13, Alan Capers, here while we're under this yellow flag. Alan Capers, Peter Short up here in the 3-wide TV booth. You got a copy, bud?
Yes, sir. How are you?
Doing pretty good. Seems like you got a piece of that last accident, but for the most part, you've been able to keep that number 13 machine up near the front tonight. Looks a little treacherous out there. How's the bump drafting been, and how's the draft package been from your perspective?
You know, it's like walking in between landmines and raindrops at the same time. It's blast. You know, it's adrenaline packed, and you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I'd say that's a pretty darn good description of it, because that's exactly what it looks like. It seems like some of these cars are a little bit loose on entry. We've seen a couple cars get turned late on entry into these corners. How is the car driving? Is it pretty well planted, or does it have some loose handling characteristics?
Honestly, I love what mine's doing. I don't know what anybody else is doing, but there's just some aggressive stuff going on, and you know, it's super speedway racing. You know, that's what you're gonna get.
Well, you have about 20 laps to go once we go back to green flag racing here. You're currently sitting in the 7th position. What's your strategy from here on out? How are you going to get to the front, if you wish to divulge that information?
Tell you what, I got 6 roadblocks that are going to be 32 feet wide in front of me, and so I got to figure out how to navigate those guys, and it'll be entertaining. I tell you what, though, that E Series, man, my buddy T-Skin 17 made it in that top 50. I wanted to give him a shout out. Congrats to him, and thank you for having me, and thank you for having us here.
Absolutely, Alan. I think pace car lights are off this time, so I think you guys will get back to racing next time by. So we're going to let you go get back to it. But best of luck, Alan, and hopefully we'll get to talk to you a little bit here once this thing's all said and done.
Barring any wreck, we'll be talking to Victory Lane, buddy.
All right, well, you heard it from the man himself, Alan Capers, driving the number 13 machine. He's full of confidence here with about 20 laps to go at Daytona. Cameron, it's the sun is slowly starting to set on these drivers, and track temperature is pretty rapidly dropping, so grip levels will probably go up.
Yeah, and that means we're going to see some more aggressive moves, and cars are going to stick a little bit more, and really, I'm up here thinking just that interview by Alan Capers, never going to look at a plate race the same, dodging landmines and the raindrops at the same time. So thank you for that image in my head. That's pretty darn accurate, I must say.
Yeah, and that's definitely how it has looked throughout this entire race. But now we have the number 9 of Tim Masters, and you said it, he's kind of been mastering this field for the last couple of laps. He's able to get that number 9 out front and really performing well. The number 56 of Tom Johnson, he's had a really good showing here tonight. He's been up near the front now for a good portion of the last half of this race. And right behind him is Nate Catilla in the 4th, Doug McCollum 4th, and AJ Digby, he's back up into the 5th position. It's 20 laps to go. I'd say it's go time at Daytona. Green flag back in the air. And Tim Masters hard on the loud pedal, getting a good restart, but a little bit of a gap between him and the 4 of Catilla behind the outside line, led by Tom Johnson. Has the number 33 of Doug McCollum right behind him. They're all now starting to tuck up with one another and get formed. That low line, ooh, everyone kind of getting close to that yellow line on entry into turn number 1, but everyone gets it sorted as they head into darkness as there's a cloud hovering over turn number 1 and 2. Look at Nate Catilla moving up to the middle groove on the backstretch. Tom Johnson having to go way high, and everyone able to make it work as Tom Johnson's able to get back to that middle groove. Catilla clips that inside line a little bit. It's pretty tight up there in front.
And there's another driver we haven't seen in a little while, the 14 of AJ Digby, your pole sitter tonight. I gotta think he probably was playing some strategy by staying in the back, just trying to keep his nose clean and keep that car not damaged, but he is coming back to the front. It is go time, like you said, 19 laps to go, and whoa, we got some contact. Huge wreck.
Oh, huge wreck. Basically the whole back half of the field. And Fernando Matos, one of those involved again. Oh, Kyle Zimmer. That
took a ride.
Oh my gosh.
Wow, gotta catch my breath after that one.
I know, like, I've never seen a car flip like that. Watch Kyle Zimmer in the number 25, as everyone ended up involved in that. But man, Kyle Zimmer doing his Rusty Wallace roll impression there. Looks like he's hopefully going to be able to limp that thing back to pit road. A little bit of contact between Doug McCollum and Tom Johnson right ahead. And it was on from there as Kyle Zimmer rolls down the track, doing some barrel rolls. It's not Star Fox. Doing barrel rolls is probably not the best thing to do here at Daytona. There's Fernando Matos in that number 17. We just highlighted it a little while ago. He seems like he's gotten into a lot of the wrecks, none of his own doing, and that number 17 machine is banged up yet again. Kevin Cochran in the number 80. Tanner Sharp was involved. Man, looks like maybe Alan Capers got a good lick in the number 13. The number 99, the 1. Chris Roberge in the 98 involved again.
And if I was the 17 car of Fernando Matos, I'd be on the first flight out of Daytona after this race because he just cannot catch a break. He's got to be out of fast repairs. I mean, just wow, tough night for him. But he put up a good showing tonight. Really, making his debut in the league and really ran strong all night.
Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on Rafael Matos. He's currently out there on the track. He's currently in the 11th position. Kyle Zimmer was able to come down, get his fast repair. Tom Johnson able to use a fast repair as well. This caution is a good break for Dave Wilson. Dave is able to get back on the lead lap. Roberge, Billy Wise, and a couple others, Thomas Wise, Alan Capers on pit road, Brian Lowhead on pit road using some fast repairs. Unfortunately, Doug McCollum had to take a tow back to pit road. It's a pretty lengthy tow here at Daytona, so hopefully Doug can get that number 33 towed back to pit road and only lose one lap, but he has already lost one of those laps in that number 33 machine, and he's had a great showing here tonight, and being up there at the front, it's kind of a shame to see him end up in the fence, as we only have 17 laps to go here on the famed Daytona International Speedway at the World Center of Racing. Looks like Johnny Berardi, he also has a ton of damage from that accident in the number 99. He's 2 laps down. I know he was hoping to get one of those laps back here pretty soon, but that number 99 once again involved. That wreck took out pretty much all but the front 5 drivers. Dave Wilson in the number 20 was able to get around it, but it was a big wreck.
Yeah, that was a huge accident. I was watching pit road, and 17 of Fernando Matos pulled in and actually still had a fast repair. So he's not out of it yet, and still yet. I'd be on that first flight out of Daytona after his night. Just really cannot catch a break, but it's going to be good to see him get back going again and still be in contention for this thing, because he's been running solidly all night and really putting on a good showing in his first race here.
Yeah, I'm watching Dave Wilson. When they had that big wreck, Dave was going 195 miles an hour on entry to the corner. Saw the wreck happen in front of him, slammed on his brakes, slowed all the way down to about 70 miles an hour, and then just kind of meandered his way through the accident. And lucky for him, too, because had he have clipped anyone, and I say anyone, like even slightly, iRacing wouldn't have given him the lucky dog. So he was able to get that number 20 Toyota Woad down. He did get the lucky dog. He is back on the lead lap, and he's been really fast tonight. So I do expect to see Dave Wilson challenging possibly for this race win once we do go back to green flag racing here in about 2 laps.
And that would be a great onboard to see too, because driving through the wreck and seeing that barrel rolling car of Kyle Zimmer just kind of above him for the majority of it, that's got to be a holy cow moment for him.
And for you Kyle Zimmer fans, he is still out there on track. He used that fast repair, so Kyle Zimmer will be challenging here once again once we go back to green. And look at that number 25 Airborne Graphics Rebel Racing machine.
That's a ironic sponsor for him, is it not?
Yeah, now that you mention it. He's been airborne with the Airborne Graphics machine, so hopefully he can keep it on the ground though for the remainder of this event. But Tim Masters in the number 9, he's hoping he can keep that machine out front, as we have the 1 to go signal. Base car lights are off, as we'll get back to green flag racing that next time. Oh, maybe a little bit of contact there between number 4 and number 3 under pacing. Not quite sure if they did make contact, and if they did, it's just a little bit of bump drafting. Getting word that they didn't make contact, so those 2 cars should be nice and clean.
These last 15 laps are going to be interesting, because looks like everybody is pretty well to go, and hopefully we can get some green laps underway and get this finish under green here.
Nick Attila in the 4 did get some right side damage in the right rear from that accident, so hopefully that doesn't affect his speed or his pace in that 4 machine. But when Tom Johnson got spun off the nose of Doug McCollum, Tom did get turned down and make contact with the right rear of Nate's car, so can't quite see it from this angle, but I don't think it's going to affect him too much, if at all. It's probably unbeknownst to him that he even has any damage. Here, as we're getting set to go with about 15 laps to go.
Yeah, and we're going to double up here and hope these drivers got their seatbelts pulled very tight because it's going to be a wild ride for everyone, even though they do keep their cars on the ground, which hopefully they do. Pace car is off, and the field is in the hands of the 9 of 10 Masters. It's a great restart on that bottom. The bottom line, once again, showing its dominance on the restart. Here's the 3 of Tanner Sharp. He's right on the back bumper of that 4 of Catilla. Going to try to push him and keep that momentum up on the high side. They do have an awesome run, and Nate Catilla is actually going to pull right beside the 9 here in turn number 1. I don't think he's going to be able to keep it up, but it's a great run through 1 and 2. One of the best we've seen all day with that 3 car of Sharp behind him, and we'll see if they can get that run off turn 2 down the backstretch.
And there you have the number 13, Alan Capers. He was involved in that last accident, but he's running in the 5th position. That kind of tells you how many people were involved in that one. But he's got a clean number 13, and we heard from him just a few laps ago. He's brimming with confidence, and he's hoping to get that machine to victory lane as he's tucked up behind AJ Digby in the number 14. So number 14 and 13 working together there on the low line to try and push that number 9 of 10 Masters around the track. Tanner Sharp looking for a little bit of clean air on the nose of that number 3 machine, but he's now closed back in on Nate Catilla. And if I was Tanner Sharp, I might be a little bit hesitant to bump Nate Catilla, even though I was just saying that right rear damage might not affect the speed of that number 4. It definitely affects the bumping characteristics of the car.
Yeah, and we kind of saw Nate Catilla, he kind of got shoved out of the, got left out by himself on the high line now. He's fallen back to 6th place and going to keep falling back. The field is single file, all the way back to about 10th or 11th position, I see. But anyway, at the front we have Tim Masters, AJ Digby, pole sitter behind him, kind of just maybe wait to make his move until the later stage of this race.
Yeah, Digby started on the pole, dropped back for quite a bit, but he's definitely mounted his charge, made his way back up into the top 5. There is a little bit of a checkup happening further back in the pack. They're 3 wide coming out of turn number 2. The 4 of Nate Catilla on the high side, the 17 in the middle. There they are, right in the middle of your screen. I think Catilla is going to back out of it. There's just a little bit of a checkup that led to that 3 wide situation with everyone able to sort it out. The 15 of Fernando Matos, I'm sure he's been in the wars tonight, but definitely still inside the top 10. Dave Wilson in that purple number 20 Cadbury machine. He's now worked his way up into the 8th position. He's right behind Kyle Zimmer, who is 7th. Billy Wise is in 15th, but he's a little bit further back. But oh my gosh, Christopher Burge has taken that 98 back up to the front with a big push from Tanner Sharp into turn number 1. And that number 98 Toyota once again leads here at Daytona, but don't look now. But here comes the 3 of Tanner Sharp. He's getting a push from Alan Capers in the number 13. And definitely everything in flux here at Daytona.
Yeah, and Alan Capers, of course, called his shot, said he's going to win this race and talk to us afterwards, so we're going to hold him to that. Of course, doing pretty well right now, pushing that number 3 out to the lead right now. Has a nose in front of Roberge, but definitely showing some speed here in the later stage of this race. We do have 10 laps to go here, and of course, you know, that is absolutely go time. And if you're not in the top 10 by just a couple laps from now, you're pretty much out of the running of this race unless there's a wreck happening.
Brian Lowhead is currently in the 10th position. You see him in the bottom right of your screen. Oh, contact!
Oh, there they go.
Number 3, Tanner Sharp. Oh, Alan Capers on the wall. Billy Wise involved. Nate Catilla spinning around. There is the yellow flag. Oh, Tom Johnson at number 56 might have just squeaked through there with a minimal amount of damage, but there was definitely contact on entry into the corner, and that looks like it's been the calamity spot all night. Let's see here on board with, oh, Tanner Sharp got a little bit of contact from the 13 of Alan Capers. And the rest of the field, it was on from there. Tanner once again finding that grass as you see the cars behind him spinning around. But that little bit of contact right there was able to hook that number 3 down into the side of the inside line, and he shot straight back up. Ooh, looks like Catilla got a second shot there. Kyle Zimmer, we saw him flipping earlier. He got a big piece of this one once again. Thomas Wise involved. So that will give us a shootout, though.
Yeah, it's kind of been the story all day. Just that bumper hook, that air turning the car in front of someone else around, and you know, unfortunately, there's really nothing anyone can do about it. It's just the way these cars are and the aero package, you know. And but I think everybody should be good to go as far as fast repairs go. I do believe.
Dave Wilson in the number 20. He got a slight piece of it. He's currently running in the 5th position in that purple car. He's the 5th in line on screen. He's got a decent chunk of front end damage, and so I'm not quite sure if he's going to come down and get that repaired at this point in the race. Tim Masters got some right side damage from that as well, from when Tanner Sharp came down into him. And I think Chris Roberge, he's got some right rear damage, similar to what Nate Catilla had earlier. So definitely, even though the 98 and the number 9 are out there leading, they did pick up some damage from that. So we'll have to keep that in mind once we do go back to green. It will be pretty much a shootout to the finish once we finally get that green flag unfurled and back in the air.
Yeah, I have to think that the next flag is going to end the race, because once we get under that 5 laps to go mark, it really is a kind of a crapshoot as to whether you're or not you're going to get the race back going. And I don't believe we do have quite a few lap cars right now, and that does add a lap of caution. So you know, all these drivers are going to be thinking like this is their last shot to get up there and win this race. And person in the best spot right now is that 98 of Chris Burge. Been pretty good all day, right up there in the top 5 when he's kind of had some issues with been involved in a few wrecks, but been strong all day. And that 9 car behind him also been very strong all day. And don't count out that 14 of AJ Digby, pole sitter, and you know, kind of been keeping his nose clean and not really involved in too much today, but we know how good he can be, and I think he's going to be right up there trying to get the win away from these 2 cats in front of him.
Yeah, Digby trying to get his 2nd career SimPossible racing win. He won in the MS Ford Truck Series at Indianapolis Motor Speedway earlier this year, and he's put on some good show, as has Chris Roberge. Roberge has had some really good finishes on the truck side, and like you said earlier, Cameron, Tim Masters fairly new to the league, but he's had a really good showing here tonight. So I'm sure if any of those top 3 win here tonight, they'd be pretty ecstatic, but don't look now. 4th place is Kevin Cochran in the 80, and 5th is Dave Wilson, making a pretty good recovery back into the top 5.
Yeah, that 20 of Dave Wilson, never ever count him out. Even really, you know, on the last lap, he could be 10th place and still somehow find his way up to the front. Just really good driver in the SimPossible Racing League. We've seen him win a lot of races. Points leader in the Truck Series as of now. Actually, our most recent winner, I believe, as well. So, you know, really good driver. And, of course, all these guys, really good drivers. They always put on a heck of a show, and we've seen a lot of good racing here tonight. Daytona with the Xfinity cars is kind of always, you know, a crapshoot to say, not so much a crapshoot, but just the aero package kind of causes havoc, and these guys have dealt with it pretty well tonight.
Yep, Dave Wilson, the winningest driver in SimPossible Racing League with 10 wins across the series. Tanner Sharp is the 2nd most winningest driver, 8 wins across the series, but Tanner Sharp has his work cut out for him. He's in the 7th position here on this restart. So as the pace car lights are still on, so it will be probably 5 to go once that green flag comes back in the air, as a great big cloud has worked his way over the track. Great to see the clouds shadow maps here in iRacing, adding an additional dynamic to the racing surface and just an element to the simulation, which is pretty cool to see. The pace car lights are off. We will have a 5-lap shootout here. Johnny Berardi is taking it down pit road in the number 99 machine. Not sure if he's going to call it a day or not. There he is. Couldn't quite hear what he just had to say. These drivers are all in communication with race control as he's trying to find his pit stall. Looks like the number 13 of Alan Capers also on pit road here at this time. He came down from the 11th position. He is 1 lap down in that machine. Nate Catilla also 1 lap down in the number 4 SimPossible Racing League Chevrolet. Nate Catilla is actually the first car 1 lap down at this point in the race. Not really time to make your way back up. So Nate's probably going to possibly end up just inside the top 10. Alan Capers in the 13. He's also a lap down. I think Capers might be out of fast repairs because he's got a whole lot of damage coming off pit road. It's kind of a shame to see that in that good-looking number 13 Toyota, but the race is in the hands of Chris Roberge. That high line looks a little bit sparse. I think they're going to have to try and bunch up here on the restart to get this thing going, Cameron.
You're very right about that, Peter. And pace car is pulling off, so these guys know they have to get going, and they are doing so. Highline did not get a great restart. The 80th Kevin Cochran did not go very well, so Tim Masters going to be a little bit, yeah, he's already fallen back. So very good for Chris Roberge. He's pulling pretty hard on the Highline with the help of AJ Digby and Dave Wilson along with Tanner Sharp. Tanner Sharp, he started, what, 9th on the restart or so. Oh no, there we go. Digby's around.
Yeah, a little bit of contact from Dave Wilson, and that sent Digby around, and the yellow flag back in the air here at Daytona. I can't help but think that might be the race. We'll get 4 laps to go when we work our way back to the stripe. Chris Roberge in the lead. Look, just that little bit of bumper contact off the nose of Dave Wilson, and Digby went around, and unfortunately for that number 14 machine, he's got quite a bit of damage here at Daytona and probably won't end up with the finish he was hoping for. Watch it once again on replay, looking out the back of Digby, and just that little bit of contact there sent him around. And it looks like it looks on that camera like Digby was a lot higher up and kind of came down on Dave Wilson, but that's just an element of that high aspect ratio, or excuse me, the high field of view camera. There, you see from this angle, kind of wasn't really leaving the door open for for Wilson. Just that little bit of contact sent him around, and there's Tim Masters. He had a great run going, that number 9 machine, and unfortunately that's kind of gone up in flames here as well, as Brian Lowhead in the number 66. He's now inherited the 3rd position in that number 66. He did a great move. In fact, if we could get on board with Brian Lowhead, watch him through this this wreck here, because he does a fantastic job of kind of seeing this happen right in front of him and splitting the middle. You see this on board. He's watching out front. There's the 14th spinning around, and man, it's like the C parts in front of him as he jumped to the middle and able to get that number 66 machine up to the 3rd position, which is where he might finish if we don't go back to the green flag, although looks like the iRacing officials have said Tanner Sharp actually is in 3rd position. They're still trying to sort out where everyone is under this yellow flag. Tanner Sharp was obviously ahead when the flag came out, but he got a good chunk of damage, but looks like the iRacing officials have put Tanner Sharp 3rd with that damaged Chevrolet. So fortunately for you, Brian, I spoke a little bit too soon, but looks like it might be 4th for Brian Lowhead, as we only have 3 laps to go. Pace car lights are still on, so really we would hope to see the pace car lights go off this time, so we'd get a 1-lap shootout. We'll have to see if that indeed happens, but if the lights don't go off, it's Chris Roberge's race.
Yeah, no, you got to think Chris Roberge is going to be pleading with the officials not to throw the green flag again, and everybody else pleading with the officials to do so. So going to be a split opinion there, but I think, like you said, Peter, that wreck just caused by Digby going up in the corner just a little bit. He slid up, ever so slightly, and it just, the momentum just got hurt a little bit, and really no one's fault. It's just plate racing. We see that happen a lot, and Digby's not going to be too happy about it, but You know, it's something that just happens and nobody's fault there.
Yep, and for all you folks at home keeping track of the SimPossible Racing League statistics, this will be Chris Roberge's first win if we don't go back to green flag racing. So, like you said, I bet you he's pleading to those officials to not go back green, but he does have, coming into tonight, 8 top 5s in the league, 22 top 10s, which is an impressive stat with 25 starts. But here we go, this is the moment of truth. Pace car lights stay on. So, unfortunately, we will not be going back to green, but if you're Chris Roberge, that's exactly what you wanted to see, as Dave Wilson will be finishing second here tonight, his teammate. So 1-2 for them, and Tanner Sharp coming home third in that number 3. So 3 for 3 if you're Tanner Sharp, and he had an up-down night, so kind of cool to see him rally back to get a good finish. Ryan Lowhead finishes 4th. And some of your big players here tonight, AJ Digby started on the pole with that last lap accident. That accident with 5 laps to go. Digby's going to come home 7th. Tim Masters put on a masterful show, and he's going to fortunately finish 8th in the 9 car. Fernando Matos, he's going to finish 2 laps down in the number 17. He really seemed to get involved in a lot of accidents tonight, not of his own doing. Alan Capers
issues as well.
Okay, he is having a little bit of connection issues. I'm wondering if Matos is falling out here. It's a bad time to fall out of the session, but it looks like Matos has disappeared from the track. Getting a little bit of connection issues right at the end. Always
he's already fallen out once. That's why he's 2 laps down.
Oh, that is a shame for Matos, because he did have a really good showing in that number 17 tonight. Alan Capers looks like he'll come home 11th. Johnny Berardi in the 99. He's the 12th position in that number 99 machine. Thomas Wise, Billy Wise, both out there. I think Billy Wise might have taken his number 32 to the garage. Doug McCollum definitely took his number 33 machine to the garage. So tough luck for some of those drivers near the back, but it was a good show, and Chris Roberge was able to get that number 98 out front when it mattered. It was go time, and he definitely made that move for the race win in a pretty impressive style.
And absolutely, if he can make one more lap on this track at about 80 miles an hour, barring something awful happening, he's gonna cross the line and win this race with his teammate behind him. So great showing for those 2 Looney's Racing cars. Tanner Sharp, up and down day. Really, probably not what he probably thinks it's a disappointment. Of course, 3rd place, never a bad day, but I know Tanner really thought this was his race to win. I think a lot of people did. He's a very good plate racer, but that car is pretty well used up. Rear end is kicked up about 1.5 feet, so if we got going that green again, he probably would be a bit slow.
Yeah, I'm sure Tanner Sharp is, he might be out of fast repairs. It'd be an interesting question for once we do get to speak to him, but because he did seem to go through a decent number of fast repairs throughout the night in that number 3 machine. Maybe it was just the fact that it was camo and no one could see him on track or something, but definitely got quite a bit of damage throughout this event. But we're coming to the stripe, Cameron, and it's going to be checkered flag for Chris Roberge, driver of the number 98 machine, getting the win in the inaugural SimPossible Racing League B-Car Series, and his first career win in the SimPossible Racing League. I'm sure he will be super, super excited to finally get that goose off his back. We've seen him with some fantastic runs in the MS Forward Truck Series here on Monday nights on 3 Wide TV, but getting that first win always feels sweet, and to do it at Daytona to start off the season with a W, and most likely will be leading the points because he led so many laps here tonight. Man, mission accomplished for Chris Roberge.
Yeah, no better place to get your first win at. And I got to think those two teammates are going to come down here right in front of the fans at the start-finish line. They're going to burn those cars down, and those tires are going to be well past their use-by date. So go ahead and burn them down, Chris. You've earned it tonight. It's a great run by you and everyone else. It was a great race to watch, Peter. And, you know, Daytona can cause some havoc. We saw a lot of it here tonight, but either way, it was a great showing.
Yeah, and Chris burning them down through the grass here at Daytona. And while he goes to celebrate, we'll hopefully get to see if we can drag some of the top finishers up here to have a word with us before we're all said and done here on 3 Wide TV. Make sure to like the video and subscribe so you can see each and every SimPossible Racing League event week after week here. And make sure if you're joining us on iRacing Live to come back and see us next week, because we'll be right here, same place, same time.
And, we need to get some people in TeamSpeak because it looks like we don't have our winner here, but we'll get the third place of Tanner Sharp in the interview booth. Tanner Sharp, you got a copy?
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Well, pretty up and down night for you. You know, probably not the night you were looking for, even though, you know, third place, never a bad showing, but kind of just talk us through the race. We saw it was pretty eventful in both good and bad ways.
Yeah, for sure. The bump drafting, and I don't even think it's the driver's fault, in my opinion, realistically. But that was just insane because these bumpers are sliding. It's like black ice, you know, like someone that falls down. You know, that's how, you know, that's how, you know, sliding across these bumpers are like, and it's just insane. I don't know, these physics on iRacing, especially netcode, is just crazy, ridiculously crazy, but nonetheless, positive notes about the race, up and down nights. Can't really complain. We're just drafting and, you know, led some laps early on, got some bonus points, finished third here tonight at Daytona. Would like to try to go for that win, but I don't know what happened between David or AJ. I was pushing David and I couldn't see in front of David at all, so I was just trying to push as hard as I can without really aggressively hitting his bumper or anything like that. But nonetheless, it was a great points night here tonight for sure there, Cameron.
Yeah, like you said, you brought it up. The bumper hook, or whatever you want to call it, these spoilers on these cars are so tiny, and we just saw it all night. It was kind of the story of the race per se, but just that, you know, you really could not lay into someone's bumper into the corner. Did you we saw you get caught up by that kind of a few times, and did you have any, or did you know that was going to happen, or was that kind of like a oh no moment in the middle of the race?
The cars move around so much in the draft. That's what people don't realize. I don't know if anybody out there who watches racing or anything like that, or never experienced here on iRacing or in real life, but what a lot of people don't know is these cars move around so much in the draft, and we're just trying to hold our line on the back straightaway. And sometimes when you hit somebody, by the time you get to their back bumper, you're not 100% lined up with them, and you just slightly tap them, and it just gets the guy ahead so awfully loose. And that's what I felt like tonight, was a lot of looseness when I was getting bump draft, and it was very unstable. I don't know if it's just the draft package in these cars or what it is. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not, you know, the expert in all that stuff, but you know, that's just a product of this restricted plate racing. Can't complain. I can't complain too much more about it.
Yeah, I gotta think that a lot of these drivers are going to be on the first plane out of Daytona tonight, going to be really excited for next week. And speaking of next week, as you said, sliding around, but going to be doing it at a different racetrack. We go to Atlanta next week. How are you looking forward to that race? I think I know the answer to this too.
A lot better in Daytona. Well, I mean, I was looking forward to Daytona, but now after racing Daytona, I'm really looking forward to Atlanta. It's going to be a whole different kind of racing for sure. Atlanta's going to be fun. Tires are going to be wearing out really fast. The tire wear is going to be dramatic there, so we got to protect our race. It's going to be a long race. I think it's 108 laps. So Atlanta will just walk in. It's going to be a handling kind of racetrack for us. No bump drafting involved. Just some good old clean racing from these fellas, like we do every single week. Even though we do get some cautions here and there, but hey, that's racing. Atlanta's just going to be really fun. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, you're very right about that. Personally, I love Atlanta. It's so fun watching these cars slide around. But yes, hot Atlanta. Very hot. Hopefully it'll be like 150 degrees track temp. We can see these cars just all sideways and like dirt tracking. But anyway, Tanner, thank you so much for talking to us. Great run in 3rd place. Started 14th, so pretty good pickup. We know you got some shout outs for us.
Yeah, for sure. First and foremost, thanks to Jeff for putting on the SimPossible Racing League and this Xfinity Series. It was loads of fun here tonight for sure. I'm glad I can be in the number 3 and try to put on a good show every single week for you guys out there. Thanks to Jaws Graphics for working on my team logo, Sharp Motorsports. Very much appreciated to get that done at like a last minute deal. Thanks to 3Y TV for broadcasting the race here on SimPossible every Wednesday and now Monday nights. So thank you everything for you guys. Mountain Dew, Team Rubian, National Guard, Shriners Hospital. I think I got everybody. Oh yeah, and thank you to everybody who tuned in to my Facebook live stream of my onboard camera over here tonight. I hope it goes to show that that just because you're disabled doesn't mean you can't do it. So all I can really say. So we'll see you guys at Atlanta.
All right, Tanner, thank you so much. That was your 3rd place finisher, Tanner Sharp. Good luck next week. And I think Peter Short has caught up with our 2nd place driver, Dave Wilson.
And I'm down here with your 2nd place finisher, Dave Wilson. Dave, it looked like these B-class cars were pretty treacherous to drive out there tonight. That high spoiler, you probably couldn't quite see through it, and because it's so narrow, it looked like it was pretty tricky to drive, especially when a little bit of contact was made. But hey, you started 2nd, you finished 2nd. Talk us through your race.
Yeah, it was a eventful race, I guess to say the least. Yeah, at the start there, I think Chris got into me a little bit. Might have been neck code, I don't really know, but didn't really matter. I was able to recover from it. Got back up to the front, and unfortunately got taken out again later on in the race. I know at one point I had a lot of right side damage, it seemed, but it I don't know, it slowed me down. I was going 160 at most, so it was kind of brutal. Went 2 laps down. Finally, a caution came out, and I was able to get both my laps back and get a good finish with Chris as my teammate being in 1st.
Yeah, it's a great start for both of y'all to start off the season 1-2. How important is it to get a start like this early on in the season? How does it set the tone for the season for you?
It definitely makes everybody feel like you're a strong competitor in the season, and the higher you are, the more points you get, and the better it will benefit you throughout the season.
I know that you're going to be looking towards the last half of the season to try and work your way towards the championship, but definitely getting a good start here at Daytona is always pretty crucial. But it's also crucial to perform well at Atlanta Motor Speedway. We've seen you really, really fast at Atlanta Motor Speedway already this season in the MS Forward Truck Series. What are your thoughts about there next week in the B-Class car?
I haven't really raced them much, but I'm hoping my race will go as well as it did in the Truck Series. It's more so I find that one's going to be a lot about patience, as it's over 100 laps. It's going to be very eventful, just like this one, I hope, and I hope that we all have a great race.
Yeah, absolutely. If you weren't here joining us on 3Y TV for that truck race earlier this season, it was quite a show. So definitely go check that one out if you haven't already. Well, before we let you go, Dave, any shout outs for us here tonight?
Yeah, I would first like to congratulate my teammate Chris on his first win in SimPossible. It's definitely a good show for him. He definitely deserved it. I'd also like to congratulate all the drivers here for participating in the race and getting a half-decent finish for the most part. I'd like to apologize to AJ for the net code there at the end. Yeah, it just kind of sucks that I took him out there. I'd I'd also like to thank you guys up here in the booth for making a great show every week. It's definitely something to look forward to after the race. And I'd also like to thank all of our sponsors here at SimPossible, and I'd also like to thank the owner Jeff Schmidt for making this possible every week. It's always a great time. We all have a blast, and it's always enjoyable for me every week.
Absolutely. Well, we thank you for joining us up here, Dave. And once again, congratulations on your second place finish. We'll see you next week at Hotlanta.
Yep, thank you.
All right. Well, Cameron Rich is down there in victory lane with driver of the number 98. Take it away, Cameron.
I'm Cameron. Chris Roberge. This is Cameron Rich. You got a copy?
Yes, I do.
Oh man, well it's been a long time coming. You finally got your first win, and what better way to do it at Daytona, man? How did you do it?
It's called patience, and woo! I'm happy about it.
Yeah, I bet. We saw tonight's race was pretty wild from the first lap onwards. Saw you kind of had some issues there with your teammate really early on with that bumper hook we've been talking about all race. Kind of was really the story of the race. But what was in your opinion? What caused that bumper hooking we saw?
Well, it's just it was just enough, but just slight bump to him, and he just went left. And same with what happened to I hit him dead on, but he still lost it. But what can I do? But I apologize to him. He said it's just fine. He was sorry first lap.
Yeah, it's just kind of a plate racing thing. We saw that all race, but we got to think you're excited. You've been so consistent, so good in this in SimPossible, both in the Truck Series and of course now in the Xfinity Series. You are the first winner. I got to think that you've been waiting for this day for a long time. Want to go ahead and give you the chance to get some shout-outs in before I ask you another question.
Yeah, go right ahead.
All right, well...
Well, you can
anyway.
you can ask the question first, and I will say the shout-out after that.
Okay, that's fine. Well, next week we go to Atlanta, a bit different racetrack than Daytona. Of course, we saw some sliding around tonight, some bobbing and weaving, but next week we'll be doing it in a different sense of the word. Are you looking forward to that race?
Well, I want to see if I can keep my win streak here, see if I can do a little good.
All right, man. Well, I don't want to hold you up too much longer. We know you got some shout-outs for us.
Yes, well, shout-outs to Jeff Schmidt for hosting this and getting all this together for all of us. Thank you for you guys at the booth, too, for doing this 3Y TV for us. Thank you for my wife for supporting me. I told her what I won. She's so happy about it. And thanks for my teammate for coming in second place behind me.
All right, man. Well, Chris Roberge, go celebrate hard. Go party hard tonight. You deserve it. And go give your wife a big hug and a kiss for me for Valentine's Day, because we know she's excited for you. And congrats on the win, bud.
For you. You mean for me, not for you, right?
For you.
You say you.
Did I? Okay, well, we're going to go ahead and pretend like that didn't happen because I don't know how to talk up here. So, yeah, she's excited for you, not me. For you. It's me for you.
Anyway, you guys take care. Thank you.
Anyway, go celebrate, bud. You deserve it. Great run tonight. Good win. It's good to see you get that first win. That first win's always amazing. And go party hard tonight.
Take care.
I think Peter has caught up with league owner and organizer Jeff Schmidt.
Well, it's okay. We'll show Cameron the door after this one's over. Because I am Peter Short. He's Cameron Rich. We'll just make sure that, yeah. Anyway, yeah, I caught up with league owner Jeff Schmidt. And Jeff, it was a good race here tonight and a great way to start off the B-Car series here, of course, on the high banks of Daytona. Always a fun place to start the season. And these drivers put on a pretty good show tonight. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, I jumped in here and I'm not sure what you guys were talking about, but it sounds interesting. I say blame it on Cameron always.
Oh, that
Oh,
one's 100% on Cameron. So
I have no idea what you guys are talking about. No, the race was awesome. It really was. Man, these guys were super excited to come here and race these cars for the first time in SimPossible. We got Xfinity cars on the track, and how exciting! Daytona. Yeah, there's a million races happening in iRacing with Daytona now, and they are going to be for the next week or so, but they aren't SimPossible, and they aren't us. So what we do is special. It is, and the guys are amazing, and it was an awesome race. It really was. I enjoyed every bit of it.
yeah, I did too. They definitely put on a great show with these B cars. I'm really excited to see these B cars on track for the rest of the season because they drive just a little bit different than the trucks Monday night here on 3 Wide TV. And what's your outlook on the season? Just describe to everyone listening what the season consists of and how you get crowned champion.
Sure. Excuse me. It's a 33 race season. It masks the Xfinity NASCAR real world schedule. So, race for race, it's the same, and we race in the same weeks. When NASCAR takes an off week with the Xfinity series, so do we. It's truly going to mask the series, and that the Wednesday that we race in this series, that following weekend, the Xfinity cars are going to run that same track. So it's pretty neat. Not only to watch the race as a fan watching the races, and to be able to race out here and then be able to watch it later. Not only that, but also to have iRacing schedule line up as well, because they line the schedule up to mask the rear world too, and to have those races line up to official races means a lot. And Skylar Allen, a good buddy of mine, owner of Go Fast Racing League, he taught me that a long time ago, and I stuck with it, and it was super cool because you join this league, and the official races you can practice in, and then your league races that week. So it helps a lot if you want to run official races, or if you're a fan of running official races, or you just want to practice in official races, that you can do that to get better for the league race. 33 races, uh, 2/3 of actual laps of the real world to the T. It's a great thing. It's our first Xfinity race. We were excited to get these cars out on the track, and I can't wait to see what the series brings, man. I can't. The trucks have been amazing. It's been an awesome series. It will continue to be an awesome series, but these cars, we're looking forward to these cars running.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was keeping an eye on the number of drivers that have participated in a SimPossible race, so far since the league's inception. And tonight we had 16 drivers enter tonight, and that's a good chunk of the drivers who've been here in SimPossible throughout or since its inception. So definitely the league is growing here and there, and it's cool to see an additional series each and every week. But before we let you go, Jeff, I know you got some shout outs because there's a lot of people beyond the people in this race that make each and every race possible.
No doubt. Yeah, the fans out there, anyone that watches the YouTube broadcast that you guys do, and follows us and supports what we do, we thank you a ton. It's truly appreciated. We see you out there. We see you, and words can't express how much we appreciate it. If you ever want to talk to us, whatever, just send me a message, and we'll get you in touch. You guys at 3 Wide, I mean, man, what an awesome thing that we got going, and how awesome of broadcasters you and Peter, or you and Cameron and Carlos are. You guys are top notch, literally top notch. I've watched a lot of iRacing broadcasts throughout my iRacing career, and you guys are right up there in the top, man. You guys do an amazing job for sure. msforward.org. Not a sponsor of this series, a sponsor of our truck series, but forever will be a sponsor of our league for what they've done for us. And I'll always give them a shout out, and hope that people check them out. And not necessarily that it will bring them business or whatnot, but I want them at least to get the exposure for helping us and doing what they have. Daryl at MS Ford has done an amazing job of getting in contact with me and becoming a partner of SimPossible to help out. So msforward.org, check them out. Skylar Allen with Go Fast Racing, gofastracing.us. Go fill out a driver sign up form if you want to join that. Amazing league. I'm an admin of that league, so I'm a little bit biased, but he truly did teach me everything I know about running a league. And without the knowledge that I got from him teaching me, I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing to help these drivers out. So really, it's super important, and yeah, a lot of respect for Skylar. So thank you, Skylar, for that. Fans, friends, the drivers, everyone that watches these, we all love you. We love you. We have no hate. We all love everyone. We just want to do what's right. We want to do everything we can to help anyone out there to have a good time. We got a new driver tonight, Fernando Matos. Welcome. We love him. He's an awesome guy. Johnny Berardi, new driver that came in Monday rather. Welcome. Just it's amazing, and I hope we can continue to get new drivers in. And if you are disabled or know someone that's disabled, have them go to simpossible.racing.com to go fill out a driver sign-up form, and we'll have them racing with us. It's that easy. Just have them fill out a sign-up form. We'll accept them in the league, and if everything is legitimized, you'll be out here racing with us. You know, we aren't the biggest league out there by any stretch. 15, 16 guys here and there. But I'll tell you what, I'll take these 15, 16 guys over 40 of anyone else. These guys are awesome. They truly are. And it's become a family. It really has. I love every single one of them, and I would do anything for them. So that's about it. I mean, we're tight-knit. We're small, but we're different. So we do what we do, and we love it. And I love these guys, and I would do anything for them.
Absolutely. It's definitely a great group of people to be around. So, if you're interested, just like Jeff said, check them out. And if you're not disabled, but you just want to support the league, make sure you follow us here on 3Y TV, because we'll be coming at you every week. Jeff, we thank you for joining us here in the booth once again, and we'll see you next week at Hotlanta.
Absolutely, it'll be an amazing race. Hotlanta is always it's always different. We'll put it that way.
Absolutely, definitely one of the slicker tracks in the iRacing service, and we'll be headed there in just about a week's time. But Cameron, it seems like Daytona put on a great show, and I can't wait to get there next week. Well, not sure where Cameron ran off to. Maybe
I'm right here.
Maybe we
I
did show
forgot
him
to
the
turn
door.
my microphone on because I'm completely making an embarrassment out of myself this entire post race. But anyway, we got some results for you. Chris Roberge is going to come home your winner. David Wilson, his teammate, second. Tanner Sharp, third. Brian Lowhead, fourth. Was third for a little bit, but iRacing scoring said no to that. Kyle Zimmer, after barrel rolling about 20 times, going to come home in fifth. Kevin Cochran, sixth. AJ Digby, unfortunate at the end there, kind of got bumper hooked and going to come home seventh. Tim Masters, mastery all day with the draft, not going to be the finish he wanted, but still a top 10 run regardless. Tom Johnson also up at the front much of the day, come home in ninth, and Nate Catilla coming home in position number 10.
In the 11th position, we had the 13 of Alan Capers, and he's followed by the 99 of Johnny Berardi, who ended up on his lid for a while there with about 10 laps to go. Thomas Wise comes home in the 13th position. Fernando Matos got involved in a lot of accidents and had some connection issues right at the very end of the race. He comes home 14th. Billy Wise finishes 15th, and Doug McCollum finishes in the 16th position. So that is your field for here tonight at Daytona International Speedway. It was the debut race for all these B cars here in the SimPossible Racing League. All these drivers set now for a long haul season, and we'll be here next week, same time, same place on 3Y TV and iRacing Live. But before we let you go, I want to give a shout out to SimTV for all these awesome cameras that we are able to use each and every week. And Carlos Acosta behind those cameras, giving us all the awesome shots. And thank you for all your awesome commentary, Cameron. And for all of us here at 3Wide TV, myself, Peter Short, and everyone, we thank you for joining us here tonight. And we'll see you next week.